Hi, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. I have a request about Cain and Abel, and I'm going to go ahead and read it, and then I'm going to be diving in and we'll see what we discover today. I think it's a really good question. You have some other questions with your Cain and Abel request, which are also really good. But for this video, I'm just going to do Cain and Abel. So we'll just focus in on that. Okay, so you say, I'm curious about your perspective. Now, what happened with Cain and Abel? I, for one, think there's a lot more to that story than we know from history. I think it's so worth exploring myself. Okay. I'm going to relax now and get connected. So I'm telling the universe, we're really interested in learning more about the story of Cain and Abel. And we're not sure that this representation is exactly correct, or we've got questions about the story. We want to see more angles, more perspectives, anything that will open our minds and consciousness and awareness. All right, I feel like a very beautiful woman. And I mean, like I feel like a goddess. Like the color pink is really emitting from me. I feel like I come from the color pink, and I'm absolutely stunning. I mean, I feel as though I am this female, and I have it's like I've got pink nail polish on, or pink nail polish, pink lipstick. But there's something about the stunningness of my appearance. I'm absolutely breathtaking. I'm surreal. I'm like from another world. I'm too beautiful for this world. I mean, this is what I keep seeing, what I keep feeling. And so I'm becoming a third party perspective now. So I'm just watching as this like phenomenal emanation just sort of descends down from this sort of misting, glimmering energy. She's just a fantastic looking woman. Very out of this world. And I'm once again her. And I've closed my eyes and my heart starts to glow. I don't say anything, but I am speaking without words. My heart is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's emanating out lots and lots of light. This just continues to take place. I'm waiting for something more to happen, but I can't force information to just come into this, so we'll just allow this to continue to express itself. So she says, what if the story isn't about Cain or Abel? What if it is about the female goddess? She's showing me how we have representation of man in this story, and the first man to commit murder, and we are focusing on the man, the divine male that inhabits this earth, who is now corrupt. So from the beginning, the divine masculine has corrupted the whole world, the divine masculine, and now we can blame man for all the problems that we experience today. And obviously this is for you to decide if you feel this is correct or not correct. She's simply giving you this as an idea of how this story has imprinted a program into our being from a very young age. Especially when so many of Christian faith are aware of this story. And we have no idea that what is programming us here is the disappointment in man from the beginning. But I tell her, well, what about the disappointment of the woman, Eve, right? So maybe men aren't so bad. See what she says. She's actually eating an apple and looking at me right now. She's asking me if I know the true story about Eve. And she starts to cry. She says this story as well is putting the man on the pedestal as the God or the creator, the trustworthy one, but yet man is also the bringer of murder and dismay. But man is at the front of good and bad. But woman, it's like woman is in the shadows as the sort of the missing link, but also the one that is sort of the bringer of all ruin for man as well. So this is, I mean, what she's talking about is really important, imprinted concepts into our collective. And it's not as if this is lifetime number one for a lot of us here on earth. A lot of us have been around the block many lifetimes here. And we've been introduced to the Bible from many different places all over the world and had relationships with the Christian religion, many different timelines. There are different generations. And this has been imprinted into generations of your soul's incarnations and generations of family history, bloodlines. This story of Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel, they're powerful medicines of corruption. And this just give me a minute here. She's really deep. She has some very profound things to say. It's almost so profound. It's like I have to keep up with what the energy is she's emitting, so I can translate it in the best way possible. So bear with me here. She says, what if we started a new book? What if Cain and Abel and Adam and Eve no longer exist in our entire history? If we completely banned even the reading of these stories, if they were not allowed to even exist anymore, and we started an entirely new book, what would we write in that book? What would we say? She wants to know if these two stories are the basis for everything in society, as in, she says yes, and she says no, correct? She says it has been a basis. It has been a study. It has been a decision about the woman's failure and then the first murderer. But it never really was stated that man was corrupt, just that Cain was corrupt. And that the devil tricked Eve. So Eve, it was weak to the devil's trickery, and then opened us all up to be tricked by the devil now too. Telling you, her energy is really powerful. So it's very overwhelming for my head. It's very intense. Even questioning if I'm doing a good enough job relaying what she's saying. I'm going to ask her if I'm doing a good enough job. She wants me to go back to, we're starting a new Bible, so to speak, a new one and all book. What are we going to write in it? Are we going to write about war? Are we going to write about all the events of the human history? Perhaps we could completely transform history itself. This is an important message. How many times have we been told that the Bible has been manipulated, that we're not reading the actual Bible? And that manipulation is a control mechanism. So if we don't have the true history, then we'll always be working with a lie and believing in a lie. So if we were to write a totally new book where all we say is that the human race has been angelic, healing, but this lie, so to speak, not necessarily a lie, because every reality exists. Every reality is true. So we give this to children and we preach this, the angelic human that is supportive and loving. And now children grow up with this program that they are angelic, that they are loving, that there is no war or no chaos. And we could completely eradicate the old timeline by simply giving to each other a totally new story and just moving on from the old one that keeps replaying itself. It's just Cain and Abel here, but yet now it's country to country. Now it's countries to countries. Now it's in the small micro level, macro level. Cain and Abel's story is all over the place here. Even Adam all over the place here. But if these stories don't exist anymore, then what are we basing society on? Society is built upon these stories. Do you see how important this is? That's what we're missing about the truth about Cain and Abel, is that we need to let go of the story itself, because it was imprinted as a challenge for us. We bought into it. We became the story itself. We became Cain and Abel. We became Adam and Eve. We became the stories. And we've been playing the stories out over and over and over and over and over again. When are we going to stop? When are we going to let the stories go? When are we going to start with a totally new story? We can write whatever story we want, and we can manifest that reality for generations, and it could be beautiful. It could be the oneness of Adam and Eve. The ability to stand side by side and hold each other's hands, the divine masculine, divine feminine working together as one. There doesn't have to be a desecration of it. There doesn't have to be an ugliness. There doesn't have to be two brothers, one kills the other, and this is what love is to our world today. We are just a reflection of these stories. This is why it is so important that we see the power of these messages. And we have to ask ourselves, how do we conquer the power of these messages? People think, oh, it's just a story. You just study the story. We try to learn the facts of the story. We have no idea how that story is actually a subliminal message. Major subliminal message. And it's been a subliminal message, not just for, as we know ourselves in this now experience, but generations before today, and generations of your soul incarnations before today. And we've been subliminally soaking this up all over the world in so many different bodies in so many different ways. And we're still soaking it up even right now. We're living in a time loop because of the stories themselves. Do you see what she's saying here? This is powerful. She tells me that be very careful of the stories that you tell your children, because it teaches them what they believe in the world and how to be in the world. And they'll grow up to be very much so a reflection of their struggle with those stories, their own personal relationship with those stories. And if the stories are based on struggle and calamity and challenge, how many children grow up to watch their parents struggle in life, only to grow up to have their own struggles? When will this struggle end? We have to work on this. We have to work on this, because it's not just to write the story. It's to write the story that rebuilds society, rebuilds our collective. and creates the story within itself that becomes a new reflection of who we actually are, our true new identity, so to speak. And she shows me how we think history is real, but it's just a revolving door, and we can actually revolve into a totally new version of history where nothing that we ever experienced in the last 10,000 years, nobody even knows about it. I mean, just think 50,000 years from now, we may totally forget about all that happened. We have no memory of Cain and Abel's story or Adam and Eve. That doesn't even relate to us. We don't even remember that even existing. Do you see about time and why holding on to so many things isn't really helping? It isn't helping to hold on to the story. Because if we let go of the story, we can let go of that timeline and ascend to a whole new experience. And it's not the history that is so important as, I mean, the history will always be there, whether we remember it or not. It will always be there. But when are we going to let go of our attachment to it so that we can start a new experience? Because we're still going around and around in circles for thousands and thousands and thousands of years doing the same thing. Still war, still struggle, still greed, still all of these emotions. When are we going to just let go of our attachment? Start a fresh new slate. Actually start building upon something that's based on love. From the beginning, there was love. Not from the beginning, there was Eve's screw up and Cain kills Abel. From the beginning, the human race was evil. But from the beginning, the human race was love. She says, oh, so now we know how to start the story. She starts to write in this new Bible. From the beginning, there was love. And there always was love. As love is and always will be. Love. The human race is and always has been and always will be love. It's what she says. Okay, that's what I got for you. Boy, you just don't know what you're going to get. Thank you so much for that amazing question. I'm really interested in the Tower of Babel too. You brought that up, and I would definitely like to explore that at some point as well. There's just every single request I've gotten on the community page has been just phenomenal. My blood is pumping with all these excited feelings. Okay, so all I can share for today. Thank you all so much for being a part of this journey with me. If any of you are interested in connecting with me one-on-one for a psychic session, please visit me at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. I hope you all have a great day.